DC Multiverse Page Punchers.
Well, how's it going once again, super friends? Today, I have a whole lot of characters to get through for this review because I've got a giant backlog of figures that I haven't reviewed and I have so much more to come. So, I thought that I would do a whole bunch of them in this video. 16, to be exact, 16. I don't think I've ever done a mega review quite as big as this. So, let's just jump into it. We're gonna start off with the Kingdom Come Superman action figure, which you can see now comes with a trading card, an action figure flight base, some extra hands, and a copy of Justice Society of America number 10, which is weird because they actually used a Kingdom Come Superman picture, and there is the data file on the back, because the comic that they chose is issue number 10 of Justice Society America, and not a Kingdom Come issue. Flight base is normal, nothing to see here, and we've seen these hands many times before. The figure is pretty kick-ass though. This is the perfect body buck, the Old Man Soup's Crisis on Infinite Earth Superman body buck that they've used on quite a few Superman figures now. This is the perfect body buck for the Kingdom Come Superman, with its lack of extreme muscle definition like we're used to with Superman figures. This one actually makes a lot of sense. It has the wired cloth goods cape, which is fantastic. No S on the back, which is comic book accurate. The wire does not run along the bottom, just down here along the sides. The Kingdom Come symbol on his chest there looks pretty great, looks comic book accurate, nice and tidy, pretty awesome. Gold buckle on his black belt there, and just overall, this is a really fantastic looking figure with the red and the blue that they've chose. Looks really great as a color combination. This Superman's head sculpt, all in all, isn't too bad. It doesn't look exactly like Alex Ross's artwork, but it actually does have some resemblance to it. You got the gray along the side of his hair here, going all the way around the back and around the other side, and a little Kingdom Come style spit curl. So yeah, not too shabby. Looks pretty good. All right, all in all, I like this figure very much. Let's move on to the next one, which would be Icon, a character that I'm not super familiar with, in that I didn't actually spend a lot of time reading anything from the Milestone universe back in the day. My comic book budget was very limited, and I just couldn't afford to buy into another whole universe of characters that I didn't really know who they were. So I stuck with what I knew, and because of that, I don't know a whole lot about this character. Icon comes with this fantastic looking trading card with an awesome piece of artwork on it, and there, of course, is the data file bio on the back, which you could pause to read if you choose to. And he comes with the same open finger splayed flight hands that old Soupy comes with. Straight up, first off, this guy looks fantastic. I love the colors. The green and the red are super bright. There's no new sculpted detail with this figure whatsoever. Like literally nothing in the way of anything that has been newly sculpted, except for the head. The head is the only piece that is a newly sculpted piece of detailed work for this guy. Looks great. I might pick up the platinum just to use the extra head for John Stewart, because this is a fantastic looking head sculpt, and it screams, John Stewart to me, not just Icon. Looks good, and the eyes look fantastic too. Icon's chest emblem actually looks pretty tidy as well. Not really sure what that's supposed to be, but it does look clean. The lines are nice and crisp. One thing I'm not super keen on with this figure is the cape. Yes, I like the color. Yes, I like how they attach the cape to the figure. No, I don't like the fabric they chose. This weird ribbon material or something like that. But I don't even mind the fact that it's shiny. I just don't like this weird material that they chose to use. It's just strange. It's just weird, and it doesn't really cape that well. I mean, if you want to have your cape out, it will stick out better than the typical capes that we have, which is nice, but the material itself is just, it's kind of hard, kind of crispy, like it's been overstarched or something like that. So not super keen on that, but I really like this figure a lot. And next we have Adam Strange, a character that I am really stoked that they decided to make. I really like the character of Adam Strange, who travels around on the Zeta Beam. Adam Strange is a fantastic looking character. He reminds me of something out of the 1940s and is just Just such a cool character. Adam Strange came with this here trading card with a fantastic piece of artwork. And also here is the data file on the back, which you could pause to read if you'd like to. There it is. Adam Strange comes with 2 more interchangeable hands, open hands. And why would that be? Well, that would be because Adam Strange also came with this gun. Adam Strange's signature weapon. I really love the overall design of Adam Strange as a character. I think that the way that they've laid out the color scheme for this guy in the first place is just so easy to make an action figure of. Like, this guy is begging to be turned into an action figure. He's been made on that Blue Beetle Booster Gold body buck. We've seen that so many times before, and I feel like that is the appropriate body for them to have used to make this figure. And his jetpack looks phenomenal. That looks so good. That is such a fantastic sculpt. And Adam Strange also comes with 3 face portraits. Here is the basic straight-faced portrait. This is the one that I like the best. I will probably keep this on the figure once it's time to put him on the shelf. I think this looks really great. Here's a face portrait where he has a face mask that covers the lower half. Looks pretty good. Here's another one that I like a lot. It's got a little cheeky smile, his cheeky smiling face. And here's one that looks like he wants to give you a piece of his mind. And maybe a boot in the arse. And here he is with no face. Oh, that's creepy looking and weird. Let's put the face back on him that I'm going to keep on the body. Nice. So that is Adam Strange. Now let's look at Jade, the daughter of Alan Scott Green Lantern. And seeing this figure gives me hope that we are going to see her brother as well. Obsidian needs to be made just the same as Jade. Here's a close-up of Jade's trading card. Not a bad picture. Actually, a fantastic picture. I really like this piece of artwork. And the back, here we have that data file bio, which, if you'd like to, you can pause to read just the same as always. Now with Jade, you got not only the figure with regular hands, but we also got these effects right here. And I'll just show you with one hand how they work, because you actually replace her hand. I have to make sure I have the right hand here. Yeah, that's the right one. And we'll just pop it, just gonna take it. There we go. Popped it on there, and it takes the place of her actual hand. And you get, well, okay, well, let's do both. Let's do both and just show you what it looks like. There we go. Ta-da! And there we have Jade with her green energy effects coming right out of her hands. These are fantastic. I like these effects actually quite a bit. I really like Jade. I think she's a fantastic character. Overall, the figure looks very, very good. She's been made on that Catwoman body buck, and I don't mind it in this case because where the sleeves have that cut right here at the top, that actually works for this figure. And where they have the cut for the high boots, it works for this figure as well. So the green and the white look fantastic together. And then the emblem on Jade's chest looks pretty nice as well. That's nice and crisp and clean, no paint slop. Very good. Let's shift her over here, stick her next to Icon. And next we'll have a look at Tempest, a character that has been around for a long time, just not called Tempest. So we have the trading card here in the front, and on the back we have Garth's data file for you to pause to read if you'd like to. He has been with the Titans for a long time. Garth also comes with these water effects. They were already on his hands in the package. I'll just pull them off so you can get a little bit of a closer look at them. That's the one water effect that goes on that arm. And then we have another one. Oh, and it's really tight. You can see how it's like really latched onto his arm there. I'm going to pull it off and hopefully not rip his arm off. There we go. That was a lot easier than I made it out to be. We have this here, and I believe that these have been used before. Don't quote me on that. But I think that they have. But they might not have. But they might have. But they might not have. Anyway, so we have the figure here. This figure has been made primarily on the body buck of Aqualad. And yeah, it works. It works very well. They have sculpted a new crotchal area, a new diaper, as sometimes it is referred to for this figure. And that looks nice. That looks good. You got the back here. Now, this is technically where the swords went for Black Manta's boy, the Aqualad. And yeah, I think they did a great job. I love this chest here. I love the scale mail here. I love the tattoos all down his arms. I think that looks fantastic. I feel like this is a very good representation of the character as we know him. The facial sculpt looks perhaps a little bit emo. You know, he looks perhaps like he is going to a rock concert or something like that. But yeah, it looks nice. I would probably consider repainting his goatee because there's not a lot of paint where it should be. It's a bit skimpy on the paint, so I may actually end up touching this figure's face up. But honestly, that's not a bad face sculpt. And the eyes are painted really nicely as well. You might have noticed that I am skipping the articulation with these figures and just looking at them. I'm not even really doing comparisons. We're just having a quick little peek at each figure. That's pretty much what this video is going to be. Next, I have for you Hourman, who didn't come with any accessories per se, just the trading card, of which here you can have a little bit of a closer look at. And as always, the artwork on these cards is the same as the back of the box. Going to zoom in. If you'd like to, you can take that little peekaroo at the data file, read it if you can pause the video in time. And I'm a little conflicted about this figure. A, I'm happy to have Hourman, and B, I think that overall the figure does look very good. Although, I will say, I do wish that it wasn't made using the Martian Manhunter / Spectre body buck. I mean, looking up close here, this is clearly the skin of the Martian. This is not a suit. This is not a costume. This is skin, and it belongs to the Martian Manhunter. Also, I never really liked the cape for the Spectre. I feel like the cape for the Spectre, I know what they're going for. I can see it, and they didn't do it terribly. I just don't like it. I'm not a fan of having these weird-ass capes that are kind of off to the side that don't make a lot of sense. I mean, this isn't even as long as a cape would be hanging down. And I understand why they did that. It's for space and all that kind of stuff. But honestly, it never really sat well with me. I would rather have a cloth goods cape or have a new sculpted rubber cape. But on top of that, we have, I believe, seen this before, but I would have much rather they sculpted a face sculpt that was more in line with what he actually is supposed to look like on the trading card. Like when you look at the DC Universe Classics version of Hourman here, you can see that Hourman actually has the proper appropriate mask, while this Hourman, using the hood and cape from the Spectre, it's just not quite... I don't think it's quite right. That's all. I wish that they had have actually gone with something like this. And, I mean, it is also really cool that Mattel decided to actually give him a necklace with the hourglass on it, while McFarlane's is just a little sculpted piece that just sits there. You know, I feel like this whole thing right here could have been thought out and done just a little bit better. What I do like about it, though, is the overall color scheme is nice. I mean, would it be cool if this was actually black? Of course it would. And I also do very much like the fact that they sculpted him his accurate Hourman belt. I think that's pretty cool. And I also do like his boots. I think his boots look nice and fantastic as well. So it's a figure that I do overall like. I probably will want to customize eventually, but I don't think they did a terrible job. I just think they could have done a better job. Next up, we have Nightmaster, a character from Shadow Pact that, I'm being completely honest, I know exactly zilch about. I know literally nothing about this guy. I only know what I can see. That he wears blue and red and has a sword and an N on his belt. I know nothing about this guy. Here is the trading card that he comes with. That is an awesome piece of art. I would like to see Frazetta, or I would have liked to have seen Frazetta draw this guy in his style. That would have been awesome. Here is the data file on the back, which can be paused and read. Actually, no, I'm going to read this one because I don't know who this is, so let's just read it now. Musician Jim Rook and his girlfriend Janet Jones were transported from their shop, Oblivion Incorporated, to the other dimensional realm of Myra. Rook discovered he was heir to Myran hero Nightshade and accepted his ancestor's Sword of Night. After liberating Myra from evil warlocks, Rook and Janet returned to Earth. Nightmaster joined Shadow Pact, eventually becoming the group's reluctant leader. That's actually pretty cool. Yeah, I like this. Now, it looks like what they're going for with his torso here is some kind of scale mail, like with these bumps. That's what it looks like, or chain mail. And I'm okay with it being smooth, looking smooth. I'm not really sure how I feel about the painted on details. I mean, they look pretty cool, but I don't know. Would I have wanted this to be sculpted or just left blue and smooth without any painted detail on it? I'm not sure. Here's a closer look at his belt with the N for Nightmaster on it. Here's a closer peekaroo at Nightmaster's sword. This is a really thick blade. I would have liked to see this blade and this sword in general be more swordly and less clubly. Like it's kind of thick, but it's par for the course for McFarlane. This is how he tends to do swords like this. I mean, we only have to look, for example, at this Wonder Woman sword to see this is just how he tends to do them. Thick blades, gigantic handles, yeah, you get the gist. Nightmaster's face sculpt actually looks pretty good. The paint looks pretty tidy. There is a spot kind of right here off to the side where it is just a little not where it's supposed to be, but you know what? I think all things considered, this looks pretty darn good, and the eyes look fantastic. And although this figure of Nightmaster, which comes on the Blue Beetle Booster Gold body buck, does come with a cape, it is not, in fact, a wired cape. It is just a hangy-dangly cloth goods cape that goes around his neck. And I'm okay with that. I don't need a wired cape for every figure that has a cape. And I especially don't really need one for this one because he's just going to stand on my shelf. Next up, we have Green Arrow Connor Hawke, a character who would become the Green Arrow in the 1990s for a while after the death of his father, Oliver. Connor comes with, obviously, the trading card. Here's the fantastic piece of artwork on the front, and there is the data file on the back. For those of you not familiar with this version of Green Arrow, you can pause to read this if you'd like. Connor also came with this really kind of ornate bow. Look at the design on this bow here. Looks awesome. The shaft is pretty cool looking. So he comes with this ornate bow and a quiver here with some pockets on the side, a brown quiver with a whole bunch of arrows, and there's just a batch of arrows. They just kind of go bleh, sit in the bottom. It would be cool if this guy actually came with some actual arrows as accessories rather than just these. I mean, these are cool, but we needed actual arrows as well. Otherwise, why does he have two trigger finger hands? You know what I mean? Like, he could have at least stuck an arrow in between his finger up here, but as it stands, he doesn't have any need for trigger finger hands. He is overall a very beautiful looking figure. I really like the look of him, and he has been made on the Arsenal body buck, although there are newly sculpted details for this guy too. I believe that the boots are newly sculpted on this figure. You can tell by the top up here, the hem of the boots. He's got this here wrist bracer. That is also a newly sculpted piece, as well as his abdomen and his torso with the hood. These are newly sculpted as well, not to mention his head sculpt. And the head sculpt actually looks pretty good. I do wish the hair didn't have such a dark line around where it attaches so that it didn't look so much like a wig sitting on his head, but overall, I think that it looks pretty good. I don't know, what do you think? Do you think this looks good, or do you think it looks like garbage? I like it. I really like how they tried to make this look like leather, and it does actually have a leathery look to it. The only thing I will say is that while they did the front and it looks like leather, the back they didn't do anything to. Right? They should have continued the paintwork from the front onto the back. Oh, and I just found out that they're not really... Okay, so the boots aren't new sculpts. It's just these ringy things that they put up top, because this just fell down in the middle of the review here while I was fiddling with him. Still though, this is a figure I wasn't expecting to like as much as I do, and this is kind of a sleeper hit for me. A figure that I wasn't gonna actually get, and then I did, and he looks great. And next we have the Prince of Markovia, Brian Markov, aka Geo Force, a very powerful, very underused character who first appeared in Brave and the Bold issue number 200, and then would later go on to co-star in Batman and the Outsiders, and later on in just The Outsiders. And as you can see here, I have both versions of this character. The old school 1980s version in green and yellow, and also the orange and red contemporary version of Geo Force. Here's the trading card for both figures. It's no different, even though this version of Geo Force is in yellow and green, the trading card is exactly the same for both of them. And oh look, there's a data file, so feel free to pause to read that if you'd like to. Each one of these guys also came with a fired up angry faceplate, and kind of a happy, if I'm being honest, sort of sadistic looking one. They also each come with these effects that go on to their hands. Here it is on this hand right here, and then I'm assuming that this one here will stick onto the other hand. Yeah, so when he's flying, he can be like, there are differences with these figures aside from the color of their suit. For one, the old school version of Geo Force, his belt actually has some details on it, while the orange and red one is simply just gold. And the 80s version actually has red hair, while the current version has reddish brown hair. At least that's how it appears looking at the video here. There's maybe auburn hair. And if I had to pick a favorite between the two, which one I liked better, honestly, I'd prefer the 80s version, just because I like that color scheme better. But I'm really glad that we have a contemporary version so that he can go up in my current DC contemporary display. And my 80s one can go in my 80s display. So I needed both of these guys. And next up, we have a very classic looking Deadshot. One of the figures that I was the most stoked about once I saw that this was going to be released. Yeah, I know that his bright red and yellow suit is a little cheesy, but I mean, they're comic book characters, and I'm pretty good at suspending disbelief, and I really think that his classic suit is his best suit. This is a beautiful looking figure, for sure. And he came with two of these attachments for his wrists, two of these attachments to his wrists, which are pretty much the same, except for the fire coming out of the end. As we can see here, they're actually quite different. And then he comes with two of these pointy hands and two trigger finger hands for grasping onto the gun that he doesn't come with. And just like Geo Force, I think the Deadshot has been made on the speeding bullets super Batman action figure's body buck. You can tell by the lines down the sides of his legs and his arms here. But he does have a newly sculpted abdomen, belt, torso area. That's all brand new. His wrist gauntlets are new. And yes, he also comes with these cannons right here, these guns on the side that have not been fired, so there's no fire coming out of the bottom. And here's a peek at his facial sculpt. And it's simple. It's all it needs to be. Overall, out of all the figures I've brought up today in this video, this is one of my favorites, alongside Jade and Green Arrow and Adam Strange. And I am super stoked to add him to my collection. Next up, Super Friends, we have Starman and Damage. And the reason why these guys are in the same slot here, I'm letting them be in the same time spot for this video, is because they're made pretty much on the same body buck. And I believe that Damage was the platinum to the Starman figure. So I figured I would put them both in the same part of the video here. Clearly there are a few differences between the sculpts for these guys, because while Starman is wearing his full body sweater and it covers his arms, we see that Damage actually has bare arms right here up until we hit the gauntlets. And I know I've mentioned it before, but this looks like a sweater. It looks like Grandma knitted him a skin tight sweater and it covers his whole body, which leads me to the first thing that I really don't like about this Starman figure, and that is the fact that he is wearing that full body sweater. He's supposed to have a map of the universe on him, and he should be smooth, not, you know, bumpy, like you can see the fabric and all that kind of stuff. And on top of that, I mean, this is the Green Lantern body buck. So he's also kind of wearing a turtleneck. You can see it right here, but his head is smooth. So we have all this here fabric look here, and then smooth for his noggin. I don't know. I just feel like the whole figure should have been smooth, just like this. And they could have very easily made this figure on the same body buck that they made this figure out of. Why did they use this body buck to make the figure when this is the one that was available, and it would have been a far superior choice? What I do like about this figure is how they, you know, implemented the universe being on his suit. These little sparkles that fit inside of the plastic. They're just like molded into the plastic. I really like that. And the kit of Atom Smasher here, we have Damage. I feel like the suit actually having the texture is okay for this character. It works. It's fine. Like I have no qualms with that. And all the detail though is painted on. So don't expect any sculpted detail. Although the paint detail, the paint deco for his symbol here on his chest actually looks really good. Clean, crisp, smooth. Everything is in the lines pretty much where it's supposed to be. And the same thing for the facial sculpt. The eyes actually look nice and clean and crisp. Once the eyes are messed up on a figure, it just wrecks everything. And so this is a good thing. So I'll just stick Damage over here, and I will stick Starman in the back right here because he's a black color and he won't really hinder the shot that much when I bring out Twoface and Twoface. One is more of a current contemporary version, and that was the Platinum Edition. And then the other one is a classic Silver Age version of the character in orange and purple. I personally think it's fantastic they chose to release two versions of this guy because, unfortunately for my wallet, I needed both for both of my displays. And they didn't come with nothing. They came with zilch. Both of these guys have been made on the previous Twoface body buck, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure that's what these guys have been made on. And the biggest difference is, aside from the color scheme of their suits, obviously is going to be their faces. The current contemporary Twoface having that red scar tissue side with the white hair. And then, of course, we have over here the Harvey Dent on that side, which isn't too different from the other Harvey Dent side on the classic Silver Age. The hair might be a little bit different color, but not too different. And then we get to the front and we can see that the older one, the Silver Age one, is green, which I really like. I like the green as well, just as much as the red. Like, I like both looks for Twoface. I think that they both look absolutely fantastic. I've seen some iterations of black and white Twoface where he's got a white shoe on the black side of his pants, but I've also seen some where they don't really pay attention to that and they just give him black shoes. So to me, this is acceptable. And the only thing that I wish that was different about this Twoface is that we had the checker pattern on his suit on the one side. I think that would have been a really nice detail to add in. But yeah, I think that is it. We made our way through all the figures. Let me just back the camera up a little bit so we can see them all a little bit better. Yeah, that's it. We went through all of them. I do admit this review was a lot more simplistic than previous normal reviews that I would do, having this many characters. But if I didn't review them this way and share my thoughts on them, I just wouldn't have had the time to do most of these characters. So I figured, what the heck, put them all in one video, and hopefully it works out for the good. Anyhow, I'm going to call it here with this one, Super Friends. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching. It means a lot to me, and I will see you all with the next one. Have a DC day, everybody, and take care. Bye for now.